Agenda West Side Beer.
Guys, welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. My name is Frank. Thank you for joining us a little later than usual. We call it the lounge or something tonight, or Into the West After Hours.
No, I like the lounge or something.
The
Into the
lounge.
West,
Okay.
the lounge or something.
We have some special guests with us tonight. A special guest has been wandering around and he came back. Sonny is not here, but my Sonny is here. The variant joins us at the table. Jonathan is here.
How do you do that? That's such a good one.
I
Hello.
did it. I turned it around. I
This
flipped
is Sonny.
it.
I'm your Sonny.
That was a
Hey.
roller coaster of an introduction.
Is that a roller coaster of
good.
emotion? Sonny is taking a nap. All right, so
I thought you were going to say no longer with us.
I was not going to say that. Out of the hot dog region, Hot Dog Paul is here.
Hello.
The dog.
Happy football season.
Happy football season.
Yep.
A lot of people were asking.
Again.
Bubbles said, "Did you guys push the show back because you wanted to watch the game?" So it's a lot of different issues. It's not about football. I was watching most of the game, but
Frank's a lion.
We did watch the game.
it just kind of worked out that way.
You know what? I really did think that for a minute.
Yeah.
I go, Frank wants to watch the game.
Okay.
Frank took the over.
Yeah, Frank's got money.
Frank walk in upset. Yeah,
Frank's got money on this.
yeah, he's got to be upset.
Degenerate.
That man you hear calling me a degenerate is my friend, Uncle Nephew Shane is here.
Good morning, everybody. Oh, hi. How are you? It's good to see you again.
Guys, we thought we were going to get some announcements. I mean, we got some stuff released over there on the Ploos Day. We'll get into a little bit of the Ploos and some MCU related topics a little bit later. But before we get into that, we're going to get into the thing that we were talking about all weekend, it seems. We're going to go around in circles about it after this show came out last Friday night. It actually came on the air last week while we were on the
Sure
show.
did.
We're talking about Amazon Prime's first 2 episodes of The Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings series. I want to get your reaction, see what you guys thought about it. I know that these young bucks, not the young bucks, but these guys are fans of Lord of the Rings, the lore and everything. And it's like, Shane, you and I are old guys,
Yeah.
and we're not as much. It's
No,
just
we
kinda-
are
That
not.
is interesting, isn't
Because
it?
this came
It seems
out,
like we should be.
the original movies came out when you guys liked movies.
When Variant's got jokes. Yes,
doesn't like movies anymore.
In the old days.
Yeah, man.
Back in my day, popcorn was a nickel.
when Frank, I was about to say when Frank
man.
gave birth to Jonathan. That's what happened. When Frank gave birth to Jonathan, all of his love for film just passed on to Jonathan.
And
Frank lost it all.
I love film.
I stayed in
dude.
like 80s movies that just annoy Shane when I bring them up. And all of my love of film just got passed on to Jonathan. As soon as he was born. And
I
was like,
love movies.
I don't like movies anymore. I want a streaming service. I don't want any DVDs.
How many times do I suggest watching a new movie or Caddyshack and we go with
Or
Caddyshack.
Caddyshack.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, we're gonna watch Caddyshack.
It's a great movie though. So.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to own anything. I just want to stream. That's it.
I don't want to stack of
Once-
DVDs.
Yeah. Once streaming ends, that's it for me. I'm done.
Rings of Power.
Paul, what did you think of the show?
Rings of Power. So I think Jonathan's around the same level of like fandom I am. I'm halfway through rereading the Silmarillion right now,
Boom.
and I also have one more of the original trilogy books to reread. But I love this stuff, and there are some liberties they're taking with the lore. They have to. They actually don't have the rights to the Silmarillion. I don't know. I keep tripping on that. But they don't, and they only have the rights to certain stories in what's called unfinished tales,
Right.
which were actually finished by Tolkien's son. They were edited to be completed by him, and they have to kind of dance around some rights issues. And I think the
Sorry, I'm not supposed to look
Well,
at
the
Shane and
son
start
is-
laughing.
Yeah, the son is the keeper of everything.
right, yeah,
Everything
he
Tolkien. Right?
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien Jr.
Tolkien.
Chris.
he was the editor, and there's one other gentleman who helped.
Kyle
Yes, it
Tolkien.
is Christopher. He helped him edit the stuff. I can't remember his name, but I really love it. I think it encapsulates the like idea of what Tolkien is, what it means to be in that world, and where it's going from here. And I'm super excited.
Do you think that it matters that much? Did it matter that much to you guys that the source material that they're trying to use? Because I mean, I'm not familiar with it at all. I read The Hobbit. I read back before I watched films. I watched. I read books. I read the original Hobbit. I read The Lord of the Rings. I read all those books when I was middle school, and back in my life was in black and white. But when that's so for this source material that's being factored in when they're making these shows now,
He's old.
do you guys think he's older than me? When they when you guys think about that, it doesn't really bother you that much as far as the source material?
No, and it shouldn't. I say the same thing with Star Wars, or especially with like Star Trek or any of these like remakes or reboots. You should do something different than the content that's already established, because we've already have that content. Make new content, make new ideas, make new things. But what they're doing with this is they're taking content that a lot of people probably don't want to read. The Silmarillion. It's hard.
It is very hard.
And it's got a lot of like, it's basically Jane Eyre for like fantasy nerds. There's a lot of descriptions. There's a lot of weird stories. There's 4 or 5 names for different people.
It's like
and
reading a
different-
history book for a pretend place.
That's what I heard. Is it like
Yes.
just like you said, you're listing the names?
I mean, I eat it up. Paul sounds like he eats it up. I have a lot of my friends that shout out Yanni, one of my best boys.
Shout out Yanni.
He's the boy. We went and saw all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies in IMAX when they came out. Like that was like a big thing.
Nice.
A long day, but like it's super worth it. And there's new content, and you're rewarded for this show too, right? Like if like Galadriel's journey through like the Silmarillion or the Second Age, or where she becomes in the Third Age, a lot of people still haven't put together that like Cate Blanchett, that actress is in Lord of the Rings, and that's Galadriel, right? Like we're following a character that you've seen in Lord of the Rings, or Elrond, like we're seeing these characters
I think he's been
move.
fantastic too.
Like, I don't remember the guy's name. Do you have his name?
I don't have his name.
Robert Aramayo.
Fantastic.
He's incredible.
He's compelling. The Disa, that's the wife for Durin the Fourth, his wife. They're just fun. They're animated. It has the best moments of like The Hobbit with charm that wasn't seen through
I
the
like
rest
those
of the
characters.
franchise.
The Half-Foots. Is that what they're called?
Harfoots.
Harfoots. Yeah.
Pre-Hobbits.
Yeah.
Weak
I
Hobbits.
like them too.
So, and I think
and they don't.
I
and
enjoy
that's
it.
And that's a big thing too that people are trying to get mad about. They don't exist. Like that's like,
Right, but-
they're not there yet, and people are like, why are you forcing a race of people that don't exist yet?
Oh man.
And it's because people
know
want
that, and they
Yeah.
want to see that.
They just want to see it. They like
Harfoots
hobbits.
matter.
Yeah.
And
No, this is
so
Harfoots. I said Harfoots.
I think there's a lot. So I think there's 2 things going on with this show. Before I say this, I do want to preface: if you watch this and didn't like it, that's fine. Like I'm not. What I'm about to say is not trying to invalidate someone who didn't like it. If you thought it was slow, if you thought the dialogue was corny, or it just wasn't for you, you prefer House of Dragons, which I also think is great, and it's very different. That's cool. But if you're like being some kind of lore guardian, but then contradicting yourself,
Right.
on the like one of the big things is there's African American characters in this show, and they're like there's no African American people in the books. That's not true.
Right.
The hobbits the original hobbits that came to Middle Earth are described as having a nut brown color to their skin, and that's what they look like when they first arrived. And Aragorn, on more than a few occasions, is described as being brown.
Nut brown, baby.
So, but point being, it comes across very problematic when you're talking about, well, I'm only mad at this because it's not in the lore. Well, it is.
Right.
And then another thing, like, so this is where Galadriel runs up that sword and kills that troll, right?
Right.
If you go, I think that looks ridiculous. I get that it's in the lore, but that's a different thing. But if you're saying she shouldn't have been able to do it, you're just wrong.
Right.
Watch the original movies.
They're
and
nuts.
the books.
Elves are nuts.
Legolas is walking on top of snow and not leaving footprints. That's what elves are. They're light-footed. They can move in ways that regular people cannot. That was the point of that
swimming, or her swimming that great distance.
Right.
And
Yeah,
being able to do
exactly.
that,
telling Dad, I'm like, she's gonna swim this entire episode, and she should not be tired.
I could
If
never.
she's tired, I mean, at the very end, I get it because she's
It's a
dehydrated,
huge storm and
and
whatnot.
there's stuff that happens. But like, she can do that.
I leave footprints when I walk on the tile in the kitchen. I'm opposite of elf. I'm heavy-footed.
It's exceptional. The show overall.
I really think it's great.
And you don't have
My
to.
footprints have bad cholesterol.
Your footprints are also exceptional.
And you know what I think it is for me and Jonathan, especially loving the lore, and although it is a little bit different, I think the end game for the show is the same. It's going to be Isildur, Gil-galad, and Elendil cutting the ring from Sauron's hand. I think that's the end of the show. I know how we get there in the books. I'm not sure how we're going to get there in the show, and that could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing.
Well,
as of right now, I'm intrigued.
Season 2, right? And of the trailer material that we've seen for the show, there's only maybe 1 or 2 characters that we haven't actually seen.
For this season.
For this season. Like, not actually 1 or 2. There's actually quite a few that were in the trailer. And there's, like, nations, like Numenor. Like, that's going to be a big thing that's going to happen
And we're
soon.
going to see possibly the drowning of Numenor, if that hasn't already happened in this version of the timeline, which is a huge moment.
And, like, there's a lot of theories with, like...
Was that the name I messed up?
No. Rowan...
Rohirrim?
I was trying to
Rohirrim?
read the different stuff as they announced the names on the screen,
Right.
and I just go, "Rawr," and
It was a good attempt.
and he just stopped and looked at me.
What did he do?
I thought he had a stroke. I was very
Yeah.
scared.
Hey, you okay? Dad.
No, just heavy-footed.
But then
Harfoot,
it's
heavy
cool, especially like if you have that Marvel itch of like theorizing, or like you watch Game of Thrones. I mean, any big relevant drama, you want to like guess what's gonna happen in the next episode.
Yeah,
There's so
part
many
of it.
good questions in Lord of the Rings that aren't just like the dumb like, oh, who's that guy? They'll talk about him later. Like there's so much good mystery that you're figuring out like what is the world. And in the Lord of the Rings movies, they don't ever fully show you like the levels of what magic is. Like magic is so much different in like Tolkien's world than like magic seen in like DC with like Zatanna.
Yeah.
Like the classical magician doing crazy stuff, or like Scarlet Witch, CGI, whatever. Like magic is so much more like creative and like natural, and it's like really like
Yeah, it's not
interesting.
just casting spells and whatnot. Like physical things can happen around people just if they get emotional, right?
And it's just like it's this power, and they show that with one of the characters, and they show like just that there's magic in the world because like the world itself is supposed to be like inherently magical. Like everyone has this like part of it, and it's very important.
Shane, you and I saw a lot of. Sorry, Paul.
No, you're fine.
Shane and I, we saw a lot of the Lord of the Rings movies when they were premiering. We'd go to like midnight premieres for all those
yeah, all
movies.
3 of them.
And it's one of the things you take away from that is that a lot of the magic seemed very like nature based.
Right.
And it didn't have to be this giant cosmic type of, am I making sense? Like a big cosmic CGI type of thing. It didn't have to be about
the two
that.
most cosmic things that happen in the movies are Gandalf's sword gets struck with lightning and he stabs the Balrog, and Saruman lightning strikes the side of Caraguas and makes them go back. Where in the book, it's kind of suggested that may be him,
right?
But it may not be. But I agree, it's more natural. And even when Gandalf comes over the hill for the Battle of Helm's Deep, there's a big bright light that comes with him, but is he enhancing the sun, which also happens to be coming over the horizon because he told Aragorn to look? But I think so. To the last thing I want to say on the people who are like lore guardianing this, it's very
gatekeeping.
Gatekeeping. There you go. And it's
Okay.
so it's like
better.
Close the gates.
people are like, why are we just doing this for inclusion's sakes? And it's like, well, where were you when in the movies, like which you claim to love, these people who are now complaining about the show, Arwen does nothing in the
that's
first
right.
2 books. She literally doesn't do anything.
Mm.
She is sitting next to Elrond at the council, and it's mentioned how pretty she looks, does nothing. Doesn't even talk to Aragorn. I think there's a narration where they're like into each other in some way. But she doesn't get Frodo. Another elf comes, a dude elf, and puts Frodo on the horse, and Frodo rides himself to that river.
Right.
Elrond and Gandalf summon that tsunami that knocked the Nazgul back, and then Frodo goes to Rivendell and gets there because they pick him up out of the river. Arwen does nothing. So did Peter Jackson just insert her for inclusion's sake? Would you say that about the movies? No,
Sure.
you wouldn't.
Yeah.
But because now you want to have a reason to hate this thing for some reason because you feel like they're trying to push some agenda when it's not what's happening. It's very strange to me.
Do you think it's a good thing for them to have this show on Amazon Prime? Obviously, with the budget, it really helps to have the budget, because I'm just saying, even if you didn't get anything from the story, you didn't enjoy the story, you can say that the shots and the wide scope of all of it, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It looks really
it's
cool.
It's insanity.
I
it
watched.
looks amazing.
I'm up to date on House of Dragons, and House of Dragons looks great. But I watched the 3rd episode of House of Dragons after watching the first 2 episodes of Lord of the Rings. It's almost not comparable how good
The 3rd episode
and
is
that's-
kind of grimy.
That's not a
I
slight.
mean, it's,
That's true.
It's kind of grimy.
It's not a slight on House of Dragons. It's
No.
actually just a compliment to the Rings of Power.
It's insane.
And it's got more money behind it, and that's
Yeah.
obviously why. But it's like, dang, this looks incredible.
And the score is also
It's really
incredible.
good.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
just everything about it is so cinematic. No matter what you're looking at on the show, no matter how everything is written, the thespian like
Right.
everyone is master thespian, especially every elf, which is really brings me into it, is the way they speak.
Yep.
Which Peter Jackson's movies didn't really they did on some levels, but they really do it. They hit it home
I
on this
agree.
show a lot.
And people also complaining
It's
about
great.
the whole
It's
Elvish
great.
thing.
Right.
Like they're like, why aren't they constantly speaking in Elvish? Because they did that in Lord of the Rings, right?
Mhm.
And it's because they want you to watch the show without subtitles.
Well, and also
Right.
not even like past that. How long are we with elves that don't have to speak to people who speak in the common tongue?
Right. Yeah.
in
And
the
that's a good thing
movies?
too. That's a good too. Yeah.
And so they probably wouldn't have spoke Elvish as much in the movies if that is what happened.
Right.
In this show, there's elves just talking to each other, and it's like, do you want to listen to that in Elvish? No,
No,
the
just-
average person doesn't want. They
Right.
want the show to be successful, and that
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Right.
It's just like when you watch a war movie and you see 2 German soldiers talking to each other. You just go in your head, you go, they're speaking German to each other,
Right.
but I'm hearing it in English because that's what I need to do to understand the movie. It's your suspension of disbelief.
And then-
It's
but
like
then-
the Hunt for Red October thing when they
Oh,
would
yeah.
zoom in on Sean Connery's mouth,
Mhm.
and then they backed up and he's speaking English.
Right.
He was speaking like a hard Russian accent, and
It is-
then they back up. It was like, oh, now he's English. What?
It is just the community too. Like I think Lord of the Rings of communities, I think has always been pretty accepting as far as like I've know a lot of people that get really excited
Yeah.
to show people Lord of the Rings. Like, yes, you're just gonna read all this content, but
I get
for-
so excited.
but yeah, and it's fun because it's this huge resource that not a lot of because it's been guarded.
Sure.
Like Lord of the Rings wasn't just being handed out.
It's
right?
borderline mythology.
Yeah. And
It
also,
is.
there's like the
That's true.
animated series that was made for Lord of the Rings, right? In like the 80s.
Yep.
And then Peter Jackson, and then like The Hobbit.
Mhm.
And then
Gummy
there's like
bears.
there's a beautiful like live voice what is it? Audiobook,
Uh-huh.
whatever,
Yeah.
that's like fully voice acted and they have sound effects and they do this whole thing.
Oh, the Phil Jagrash one. He does all. I don't know if that's one you're
it's
referring
I
to.
don't know if I don't think it's official, right?
Mm.
No, it's not. It's
Right?
one
It's
that
just the guy
it came
did
out in
it.
2012. His name is Phil Dragash. It's actually the one I'm listening to right now.
Yeah.
I may be mispronouncing his name, but if you ever want to read the books, but you're like, I don't want to sit down and read them, I want to listen to them passively in the car, that one is incredible.
Yeah.
It-
I listened to that when I went to San Antonio
It's
last year. It's
so
insane.
cool.
In
It's
depth,
insane.
all sound effects, like they do.
You get the
Smaug.
music from the
Yeah.
excuse me, the music
Ow.
from the movies plays in the background.
Yeah.
And the guy does voices, and it's good. It doesn't come across as weird at any time, at least not in my opinion. But I think if you're tentative to get into the books, I think that's your door in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was going to ask you too, Shane, the production value for this show in particular, and then you look at the production value that they have for Game of Thrones with HBO. It's just like it's a different level when you transition to what you see on Ploos, and
Yeah.
it's just like okay. So House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones are in their own little area because they're a little bit more graphic, more suited. They're like more suited for like an adult audience. The thing that I enjoy about the Rings of Power and just Lord of the Rings in general is that it can appeal to all types of different audiences, similar to what they try to do with Disney. It just doesn't. It doesn't really always. It doesn't really resonate all the time with what they do with the different Disney shows.
Yeah,
it just doesn't always click. Am I making sense?
Absolutely,
it does make sense.
It doesn't always work.
Because Rings of Power can be serious and be suitable for everybody.
They go back and forth.
Both.
Sure.
Yeah. With ease, they can do both. They can be funny. I mean, so far what I've seen just on the 2 episodes that have come out, things have been funny. Things have been touching and moving. When Durin is talking to Elrond about you weren't there to see my kids
Crazy
grow up.
impactful.
Yeah,
that was one of the greatest scenes.
It was so good.
So good.
I almost teared up at that scene.
Yeah.
When he says to Elrond, when he says, "You were gone. I haven't seen you for 20 years."
Yeah.
20 years
That's
to an elf
nothing.
is a blink of an eye,
Yeah.
but to me,
Yeah.
I have a family.
I have
now.
a family
Right.
now,
Yeah.
and you weren't there to see any of
And
it. And we were
people-
supposed to be my friend.
Oh, man, there's
Yeah.
people complaining
That was
about that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, wow.
And it's so because
Frank.
dwarves live for what, like 250
Yeah.
to like whatever years.
Yeah, but elves live thousands and
thousands.
Really?
They're immortal. They live
Dude,
forever.
Literally,
As
if
long as
they're
they
not killed.
they don't get stabbed, then they're whatever.
He shouldn't care about that.
So it's 20 years,
Wow.
and so much life happened.
Yeah.
Like it's impactful. It's okay.
Sure.
Let it whatever. And Lord of the Rings overall has more light and a lot of that,
Yeah.
like just light, not just like lighting, but there's just more substance on the
Yeah.
screen
I'd
than
agree.
a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy, and we see it in the Marvel shows. I think if you look at She-Hulk and then you compare it to this show, and
There's
She-Hulk,
there's a lot less twerking.
right?
in the-
But She-Hulk
So far.
is
So far.
extensively darker and has
only
like
been 2 episodes.
like,
Only 2
like
episodes.
less light, even when they're completely outside in Mexico.
Mhm.
Like there's so much more light and warmth on the screen,
Yeah.
and they show you these cliff sides, and then you're like, they built this. They built this mountain. They built this tree. How did they do that? Like you don't believe in
Right.
certain points that it's CGI,
Uh-huh.
and there's so much disbelief, and like the tree, and like it's beautiful. You
Yeah,
gotta watch
yeah.
it.
It-
You gotta
it's
experience it.
Beautiful.
It's really
Really
good. I was
beautifully
excited for this show. I was excited for House of the Dragon too before I saw it. I mean, I've enjoyed them both. It wasn't
Yeah.
for me. It's not really like a you better pick a side. It's not, like, it was
They're
never
very
like that
different.
They
kind of
both
thing.
make me like
I like
each
Coke
other
and Pepsi.
more because of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Because of
Cheetos
their
and
difference.
popcorn.
You have a lot of time. You can watch it.
I like blondes
Both.
and
Pasty
everything
redheads.
else.
Thank you.
Oh man, a delight.
Pasty redheads, Shane. Wink.
Quan in the background. Pasty red.
We were hoping that we were going to be getting some announcements with regards to Ploos Day. I mean, you guys can go home tonight and watch Pinocchio if you like. I mean, that's about the total of it. We have heard some rumors being leaked out there that we're going to get some pretty big announcements when we get to Saturday afternoon. There's a panel scheduled, Paul, I think from 10 to 12 Pacific time, that they're going to put a 20th Century Fox presentation, a Marvel presentation, and a Star Wars presentation into this about 2-hour panel.
Lucasfilm.
Nice.
We're going to get probably another Avatar thing, I would
Yep.
assume. We're going to get maybe a second Wakanda Forever
I would
trailer.
imagine.
And then maybe, I want to ask you guys, how likely is it that we actually get the trailers that they put out in San Diego Comic-Con for Ant-Man Quantumania,
Yes.
Oh, sure.
for
Yeah,
the
without a
Secret
doubt.
Invasion series, for Guardians? Because James Gunn kept saying that it wasn't ready, it doesn't look right, I don't want everybody seeing it yet, because he didn't think it was ready to be watched. I mean, could we just be getting that stuff that we didn't get at San Diego Comic-Con as far as footage and trailers?
I believe it.
We better.
I think if maybe if not the
Or
same
else.
exact ones,
Or else.
right?
We better arm it.
Maybe not. They'll
He
probably
loves
do the
you.
thing where they like slightly change the trailer from Comic-Con, so the people who were there still have a little bit of a unique experience, and we'll get a different version of pretty much the same trailer at D23. Because you know how that happens. They show one at Comic-Con and then they put one out, and everyone's always like, "Oh, this was a little bit different at Comic-Con."
Yeah.
Who knows if they was actually different, or the people who watched it at Comic-Con are just misremembering different things. But I
Right.
think it'll be something like that. And I hope we get the things I want from it are an Avatar trailer. I want a Fantastic Four announcement of some kind.
Mm.
like from I want an announcement of another Star Wars movie. Those are the one thing from each of those 3 studios that I want.
High Republic, where you at?
Do
That's all
it.
I need.
That would be
all
cool.
they have to say, they have to say, Ryan Johnson, High Republic, get over yourselves.
Well,
Right.
it's gonna be good.
no, I guess they announced with relationship to
Get over
yourselves.
Yeah, get over.
Please.
Power.
Pow in your face.
Yeah.
Bam.
The Ploos.
Boom.
In your
Boom.
face. The Ploos Day this weekend, they said that we're going to be getting, more than likely, we're going to be getting the Fantastic Four cast announced.
Mhm.
And the rumor that was floating around on the interwebs as of yesterday was that Jodie Comer, who plays Villanelle in the Killing Eve series, I think she would be a great Erica Slaughter in Something's Killing the Children.
Ooh.
Much better than my previous selection.
Yes.
You got to go archive that. I've said something and people just laugh at me. But I think that Jodie Comer would be a great selection, that she's going to be playing Sue Storm in the Fantastic Four movie, and that the fans can rejoice because it seems like you're going to get what you want. John Krasinski, or we get what we want. I'm not mad at it. John Krasinski is going to be playing Reed Richards. They're going to be making it official
That
this
is
weekend.
moves.
That
And then
is
Matt
the word.
Shackman, who did WandaVision, is probably directing the movie.
Mhm. I think all those things are like what we wanted to hear, right? For the most part. Not that it's been officially announced yet,
Right.
but those are the things we were hoping for. And I don't think, like, if it had been announced that it was Penn Badgley and not John Krasinski,
Oh, right.
I don't think I would have been
that.
upset. I
No,
wouldn't.
not really.
But I would have just been like, all right.
If Krasinski directs it and then Badgley is cast as Reed
That would be
Richards,
pretty
That would be
cool.
nice, too.
are you okay with that?
that would
too?
be sick. Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
But with that,
I actually might prefer that.
With that, I'm almost miffed, or I don't know about sad, but I'm kind of sorry that we saw him as Reed Richards and
If we don't get him,
Multiverse of Madness already. I would like to see a nice fresh,
And then you don't
Fresh
see him.
Richards.
yeah, fresh
Fresh Richards. Well,
which was my nickname back in high school.
Was
Fresh Richards.
Fresh
Shane
Richards.
is lying.
Unstringed cheese.
Well, that's what it's. Yeah.
Strung cheese?
So
Strong cheese.
strong cheese, technically strong cheese,
Strong
Is it
cheese.
just called cheese?
cheese.
It's just called cheese at that point.
The rumor.
Why are we talking about
The rumor that I was hearing
Go
for other casting for Fantastic Four
Yeah.
was that his name is Jason Segel.
Doesn't see.
I almost
Jason
said
Segel.
Sudeikis.
And that Jason Sudeikis.
Jason
Don't
Segal.
worry, darling.
How'd I get here?
I mean, that was
Jason Statham.
Jason Statham.
Jason Segel will be playing
you
the
imagine?
Thing,
Steven Seagal.
and that he might be a cameo or mid-credit scene
Oh.
in the She-Hulk series, like towards the end.
What does he say? He goes, "I'm the Thing," and then it ends.
See, and that's like,
It's clobbering
He,
time.
he
and
says,
then it
"I'm
ends.
string cheese,"
okay.
and then it's clobbering time.
I mean,
String
it's cheese and time.
He goes, "I'm
It's
weird
cheese
too."
and time. So I have a
Say
question
it's
for you
morphin'
guys.
time.
Are you guys over the way?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's over
Nah.
it. Just it's cameos all the time, and it's like this is going to be a cameo. This is going to be a cameo. I don't care what's going to be a
No,
cameo
we're
anymore.
waiting
I
for
just want to see
cameos.
what's actually going to happen in an
Yeah.
actual movie with actual
I think
characters.
the excitement of all the mid-credit and post-credit stuff that they've been putting in these films and series has sort of lost its effect because
Yeah.
it doesn't come across as being very special. They just feel like they're obligated to put something there.
Because they do.
And you're like, oh, that was the thing, like
Right.
whatever. Instead of just making it like a surprise.
I
that they
think the
actually
worst
do it.
decision that they made on that front was making the funny one the second one.
Yeah, it could have been the last one.
Okay,
Very easily.
yeah,
Like,
That's
Or not the
good.
last one, like
That's
second
true.
to last or something, right?
So I
because
think
they had like 5 post-credit scenes for the Guardians sequel, didn't they? They had 4 or 5. They had a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
Anyway,
But in
Yeah.
any case, I think I can see the last few times we've went to the movies together, a large majority of people after the first one are getting up and leaving because they're going, I read on the internet that the second
This
one
is
is
it.
just a silly joke, so I'm not watching it. Where it's like you would think they would do it different. Do the funny one first, and then the one that's gonna like give you a little insight into the future, like on the next episode of the MCU,
Right.
would be the second one, which
Right.
would warrant and reward sticking around to watch the credits and see the names of everyone who worked on it, and then getting rewarded for that.
what would you rather have, that you wait through the whole credits and then they give you the one that like sticks, that it's like, oh my gosh, like this guy story they're trying to advance, or would you rather have 2 scenes than one kind of goofy, or would you just like not have one
Truthfully,
for a while?
I would rather just have one post-credit scene that mattered.
That's it. I agree with that. Just one, the serious one. I could do without 99.9% of all the goofy ones that they do because they only
get
last
pretty
like
forgettable
10 seconds.
though.
Yeah, after a while.
After like
Yeah.
these, we're in our fourth phase and we're ending
Like,
the fourth
you're
phase.
Still doing this,
and everything is like it's become pretty forgettable.
Yeah.
I like the funny ones because I like to be able to just enjoy the show and not have to theorize about the next show.
That's fair.
I like being like, haha, they're eating shawarma, and then like at the end of like Avengers, you're just like, haha, okay.
But do you want the?
You're like, okay.
But I don't have a problem
You can
with
go to bed at night without being like, what do you mean? There's gonna be more.
I don't have a problem with it being funny.
Why is he here?
Right. Oh,
Thanos?
why is that guy?
Harry Styles?
Who that is?
Why the worst one? I don't actually think that's the worst one, but that one sucked in Eternals because they had more movie in the movie.
Star Fox. Yeah.
Hi.
Eros, the Star Fox. Eros, the Star Fox.
Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Yeah,
Was that the second end credit scene, or was that
Yes.
in the movie? The first one was not. Black
I
Knight.
thought the second one was Ebony Blade.
Ebony
with,
Blade.
No, I think that was before
Blade?
the.
Was the first one? I don't remember.
I think that was before the movie even ended.
I can't
What?
remember.
I think it was.
I try to block out
it?
Eternals.
No,
so
the
I'm not
first
trying to
one.
remember a whole lot about it.
Yep.
The first one was when Arsham comes and like takes them, and they're like, "Yo, we're gonna stand
That's right.
trial or whatever." The Ebony Blade thing happened right before the credits started, so it's not technically a post-credit scene. And then the last one was
Eros, the Star Fox.
Harry Styles and
Harry
the
Styles,
weird-looking.
watermelon sugar.
They're in space.
Shout out Chris Pine.
We're going to space. We're having fun. Look at the friends we made.
It's pretty good.
I have to sing it off key, or
Or it doesn't work.
get it shut down.
That was your concern.
Jonathan's gonna sing it, so we're
They're
gonna
like,
get
he's
copyright.
saying-
It's happened before. DMCA'd. It's happened before.
It's true. It has happened
He's
to
saying
us.
too
Yeah.
good. Shut it down.
Turn it off. No more comedy.
Oh my
podcast.
goodness. I haven't watched the last episode of She-Hulk, but I've enjoyed
Ow.
She-Hulk because it knows what it is.
Yeah.
It's goofy. I'm not taking it very seriously.
It's a courtroom show.
I would say that it is getting probably worse.
Do you think? I don't want to say it's getting worse. It's just not getting better.
I don't know.
It's a show to watch.
But here's what I think about She-Hulk at this point. I think everybody on it, especially her, she's extremely likable.
She is.
So
Yeah.
a lot of the things she does, I just I give her a pass, even if it's twerking or any of that.
Well-
just because she's so likable
Yeah.
to me. I'm trying to talk. Shout out to Simon. I'm trying to talk my son into continuing to watch it with me because we don't
Come on,
watch anything
Simon.
yet.
Come on, Simon.
Get it together, Simon.
Love your dad.
Please,
Do it for him.
please. But I think that's what I think. I think a lot of people on the show are likable. I thought the scene with Wong, that Wong showing up in the courtroom was
He's
cool.
the MVP of Phase 4.
Yeah, he really is. He's in everything.
He's Phase 4. Nick
The
Fury.
glue of
He's
Phase
a-
4.
Yeah, he's in
He's a
everything.
5-tool player. He's doing it. He's doing everything.
He's doing it all.
Zone
He is.
defense.
Yeah, dude.
Not the zone
Yeah,
defense.
no.
He's ridiculous. Well, okay, so I was talking to Timmy. We were texting back and forth on the way over here. He said that this episode, the fourth episode, was the best so far. That he said it felt more
Yeah, I
like
haven't
the
seen it
original MCU stuff more so than the other 3
So
episodes.
there's
so
an
I don't know what that means.
This is the
It's-
fourth
it's still-
episode?
this is the fourth episode.
That's not.
Came
When
out
did it came out last night?
last night.
Okay, I haven't seen it.
I'll watch it tomorrow.
so I
I'll watch it tonight.
there's
I'm
a
gonna watch
weird
it right now.
dichotomy,
It's only
right?
6 minutes. No, it's
So yeah, that's funny because they are very short. I haven't watched any past the first one. Again, not because I thought the first one was terrible, but it didn't like grab me, and I wasn't like, oh, I am invested in this story. But I do think she's likable, and I think that works for the show. And I think there's what I was gonna say was like there's Game of Thrones. I like House Dragons a little more than I liked Game of Thrones so far. But Game of Thrones for me was difficult because I think it's a good show, but all of the characters suck. Not from a bad writing standpoint, from like they're all terrible people. And I'm like, me as a viewer, I like to have somebody like like Jon Snow is the closest thing to that in the original series,
Right.
the Game of Thrones series. And then there's things like She-Hulk where it seems like the main character is very likable, but the rest of the show, I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I care.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's that interesting.
It's a hard sell because not everybody is going to lean in and want to watch
Come
everything
on.
MCU related.
I think she has the value of like the Allison Brie does for like Community,
Okay.
or like Allison. That's funny. Allison Hannigan from like Buffy and How I Met Your Mother.
List some other famous Allisons.
Allison
Who is it? Who is it?
Smith.
Yeah, okay.
Allison Chains.
Allison Brie.
Ali Larder.
I already said that one.
from
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
That was the
Legally
first
Blonde.
one.
I don't listen
I
to
don't
you.
think there's other ones. Listen to me. That's me. But she's just kind of like she's like the nice, like not quirky.
Right.
She's just like nice and smart, and she gets the she does the role correct.
Right.
It's
you
funny
know?
that you
And
said
people get
Allison
upset.
Brie though, because she was the one that she was the finalist to play She-Hulk.
Really?
Oh.
Yep.
And I could see her
It
being
was down to
She-Hulk.
her.
too.
And,
I like
Tatiana
Tatiana
Maslany.
a lot. I think she's great.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, and I
she's
think
good.
if Marvel just either they made the show, I think the show is in between funny and serious. I think the show either needed to be funnier or needed to be seriousier.
Serious here. Okay.
Whichever one,
Okay.
Sirius XM.
That's a good one. Yep.
Or the show just needed to just capitalize on like we're gonna be wacky and goofy and like like Daredevil's gonna show up in the show, right? I don't
If
know
you
if he
had
came
more
out of this
interest in the
whatever.
character, would you mind that it was funny? Would you care
If
you
it
were-
was a character that I like was like I just liked like and I had a vested interest in and it was funny.
if they made the Daredevil show a comedy? Would you be?
Interesting.
I'd be upset.
I might be a
Murdoch
little
walking
upset.
into walls.
But She-Hulk's supposed to be funny. Like if it was
Trips
a
over
character I really
Michael
liked,
Justice is blind. Sorry.
that's funny.
Throw the book at
But
her.
like since She-Hulk is supposed to be funny, I think that works. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
I think making a show where the character's not supposed to be really funny, like I feel like they went a little too hard on the funny in Moon Knight.
Oh, for sure.
Not that Moon Knight was super comedic, but it was like every time they were talking to each other, it was like, oh,
He's like, I'm British.
It was just
And
so
for whatever reason, that
it
was
was
supposed
so
to be funny,
uneven,
you know?
and
That was
the
that
show
was the problem,
ends,
man.
and then it's like this is our big like finale. We're trying to pull everybody in, and it's like, look, there's another version of him, and he has a hat. And
Right.
You're like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's like I don't.
Yeah, it had
it was all over the place.
It had as many personalities as the lead character. The whole show had
Yeah.
too many
And
personalities.
the first episode of that show was so good,
It's incredible.
Right.
and it
Yeah.
was just it was all over the place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How to not finish a show.
but
That's
It
right.
was rough.
Perfect
yeah,
example.
I don't know. I don't know what show is gonna get me locked back into the Marvel TV shows,
Mm.
but it ain't She-Hulk.
Well, I think the Secret Invasion show we could be getting
That might be
we
it.
could be getting some stuff this weekend for that. At least a teaser trailer, if not a full trailer, because it's supposed to come out in the first couple of months of next year.
Right.
So you think they would want to get your attention into like the next show, what's going to be happening with Ploos. We're surrounding all of these announcements and everything that we're doing with regards to Ploos on D23 this weekend. Maybe some stuff for I know it's a show a couple people have been pretty interested in, is that Star Wars The Acolyte
Exciting.
series.
Yeah,
What's his
exciting.
name got cast?
From Squid Game.
Squid Game.
Yeah, you get cast the lead.
Oh shoot.
He's one of these.
I forgot his name.
I'm not gonna.
But it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Mr. Squid Game.
Mr. Squid
Mr.
Game.
Squids.
Yeah, Alkalite. I mean, that can only be dark and spooky.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh.
excited for that because I have no idea what to expect.
Marcus, shout out to Marcus for last week coming through.
Marcus,
We appreciate
woo.
you being on. Last week he had mentioned that, we were moving closer to October is next month, guys, and we can start picking out our costumes for the Halloween Spectacular next month. Marcus had mentioned
That's what
true,
we're looking forward
right around
to,
the corner,
Kwan's birthday.
and it's also going to be
Mark's
Kwan's birthday.
We're all
He's
going to come
eat
in and dress
so
up
many
as Kwan.
tacos.
You know that there's supposed to be this web.
How
Wow.
funny would that be? We all Justice Squad,
Oh man, that'd be dope.
The black button up.
button-up shirt,
Get a
Chuck
little-
Taylors. We're all eating a burger or a burrito.
in the body armor.
It's Taco Thursday. It's taco every day.
It's taco every
Oh,
day.
okay. That's tough.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Shout out. That's it. How excited would you guys be if they just kind of like surprise announced the Werewolf by Night series? There's a one shot
That'd be
thing.
cool.
It's supposed to be like a
Yeah.
special. The Guardians holiday thing is supposed to be coming out.
Right.
It's rumored to come out on Christmas Eve.
Did you guys watch the Groot little mini things?
I was
saw
talking
two
They
of
about
were
them.
so fun and cute.
They are cute.
That's
And they're
good.
like 8 minutes. They're super short.
Adorable.
And he's just being Groot. And it's like,
Yeah,
there
we,
needs to
we got a fun hater behind the camera over here.
there has to be
Aw,
more
come on.
there has to be more content for kids
He's a hard man.
or
man, I tell
younger
you.
audience because this is for kids, right?
Right.
Originally the comic books are for the children.
They
so
still
make
are.
So
for the,
yeah,
for the,
so,
for the youths.
so make
youths.
content for them. And that's why I think She-Hulk was weird because I thought She-Hulk was going to be more like not like toony for the kids, but it's definitely more adult, like very quickly. And I was like, oh dang it,
Yeah.
what a
They're
What is-
not really finding their balance with it. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're trying
or
to
like Thor, like Thor was like, oh, we're gonna be funny for everybody, and you're like, well, I don't know if this is funny for everybody.
That is the problem I'm having. They want to give every show pretty much the same identity because
they're trying to put the
that
same
is
weight behind every show.
Yeah, every show is going to be the exact same form. I mean, I understand there's got to be a formula.
Yeah.
But does it have to be? Does every show have to be the exact same?
Well, that's what I'm hoping they do with
scope
Secret
and size?
Invasion is that they change it up a little bit
They have
and
to.
they try to make it like a spy thriller
Yeah.
type of thing and make
Huh?
it.
No?
I
You
don't
don't
think
think so?
they
You think everything is going to be this way forever?
I think the best game changer was Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was super, the
Yeah,
cartoon.
that show was
Or
fun.
not cartoon. It was live action.
I didn't finish
hopefully.
Miss Marvel.
I liked
I
it
did.
because it felt very like Spider-Man in high school, like esque.
Right.
It's like a group of friends trying to figure out what happens when
I was
one of
telling
them becomes
him
a
like
superhero.
Shazam,
Right.
Like Shazam.
kind of that
Mhm.
feel.
And it's really, I just thought it was really good, and it connects to something that was pretty obvious from the beginning because her name is Marvel, so she's got to somehow connect to the greater Marvel team,
Mhm.
right? She-Hulk, I'm like, okay, she's a Hulk, right?
Yep.
What does that mean?
Do you
It's
think
clobbering time? That's Thing's thing.
what?
That's Thing's thing.
do you
The thing
think
thing.
that She-Hulk would have been better if it was helmed by someone like Tim Miller
Ooh,
or the gentleman? What's his name? He did the second Deadpool. I can't remember his name off. He recently had another film come out as well.
Was his name Ryan Miller?
Yeah, Ryan Miller. No,
I don't know his name.
I can't remember his
Miller
name.
Lite?
It's like Existin or something like that. I
X
can't
to
remember.
the Z?
But just one of those guys did this film or did this show.
it'd be fun. I think the She-Hulk just in the first episode was like not going to be funny. It was going to be her trying to figure out how her life works now that she's a Hulk.
You
And
said
then
Deadpool too.
and then they get
Yeah.
really
David
funny.
Leitch.
Leech.
Yeah, they get it really funny. So if they just gave it to a guy who's more of like a comedy, guru or something to make it a little bit more zany, the Deadpool movies are hilarious.
Yeah.
I think they're really funny.
I
I
don't
don't
They
think
still
the third
are.
one's gonna be very good.
No.
I'm worried.
When
I
when
digress.
is he
Oh,
going to get
boy.
into Marvel? Right? When are they going to actually
Well,
like
and
just
that's
throw
the
him into the
thing.
ring? Like that's the the ticket.
Because I don't think they can get to that point where they have too many audiences that
Yeah.
they're trying to appeal to, and I think it's going to be Daredevil light.
Mm.
It's going to be there's going to be
Mm.
violence,
They
but
would-
they're not going to go as
Not like
gritty as
Netflix,
If
the
they did-
second and third season of Daredevil. Oh my goodness!
Right.
You kidding me?
If they did the
First season of
two
Punisher. Come on.
big movies a year for Marvel, and then they made Deadpool being like the in-between movie,
Mhm.
I think they could make an actual like Deadpool movie going into the Marvel universe, but they can't make it like the November release. Like
Right.
it can't be like the movie that we're leading up to is Deadpool. Deadpool, I think for like just the Disney universe future, they have to use him as a connector and as a background character.
I would put him in a summer
Yeah.
a summer movie between a character that's established
Yeah.
and a team movie,
Right.
a group movie. Like you put him in the release in theaters before or after Thunderbolts,
Right.
and then the fifth Thor or the fourth Captain America or something
and
like
the plot
that.
could be like getting Deadpool out of jail or something silly.
Yeah.
And then they pan over to him and he says something funny, and then they go back and it's the same characters you've been following, and he's just there as like a connecting point, but not like the movie doesn't follow him because it might be too much Deadpool.
I have a question for you guys. Has the MCU lost their serious anchor point characters? We don't have Steve. We don't have Tony. And those were kind of our two like Steve and Tony were funny, but they were the majority of the time very serious.
Right.
And so which main characters do we have now that are grounded in that way? I would say almost Han Solo-esque. Han Solo could be funny, but he was mainly just super serious and like this is he was almost self-aware where it was like this is kind of ridiculous all the stuff we're doing. And
Yeah.
it's like I feel like we don't have that grounding.
I was
Like-
hoping Bruce Banner would
And-
be this character, but
Or
even
even-
he has.
Now he's
It
in
made
now
him
he's
a
in
goof.
space.
Even Cumberbatch, Doctor
Right.
Strange could have been that character,
Brenda
which he
Dirk.
still could be.
Yeah.
But that movie was so wacky and we didn't have any like I don't know. I just feel like we've lost our grounding in the MCU a little bit.
As soon as they put him in Spider-Man, that was too strange.
So there goes Shane.
Strange was in Spider-Man. You
Right.
know, I was just like, dude, helping Peter, find a way to get his friends into college. That's when I was like,
Shane's eyeballs
that's it
almost
for,
popped out
that's
of
it
his
for
head.
Strange.
College.
That's it.
He's getting into college.
It's yeah, I agree. It's hard. I think
know
that
what I mean?
there isn't a human character right now. Like,
Right.
There really isn't an inherently human character besides Peter Parker. But then they did this whole, like that they're gonna have to reset his storyline.
Peter
Right.
could be that character.
And he could be.
Yeah.
And we just don't know how long they want to, force Tom Holland to not be, because he's in every movie right now.
And
Tom
he's-
Holland is,
Yes,
he's
he
the
is.
hot thing of
He's-
Hollywood.
yeah.
It's hard, yeah. And like maybe Black Panther, we're gonna get that human character, who's ever is the next Black
That's
Panther. But
that's what we need.
we need a human
Yes.
guy who's just a guy.
But that's a
Right.
concerning point for you then, as far as you say that they lost Tony, they've lost Cap, that they have a new Cap, and that they're going to have other characters kind of assuming these roles
Mhm.
that are younger or lesser known actors / characters, and you don't know if they are able to kind of hold that mantle and keep people's attention. Because Robert Downey Jr. is very charismatic,
Right.
and
Yep.
he happens to be a good actor, and he's fantastic as Tony Stark. They nailed it as
Well,
far as the casting as Tony Stark.
I guess my question is for these new characters is they can be funny, they can be serious. What is the emotional hook for these characters?
Right.
Tony he made a living off of killing people essentially, and he realized this and turned his life around.
Mhm.
Captain America lost his life fighting for his country and lost everyone he knew
Everyone,
and
yeah.
everything, and he was thrust into a new world that he didn't know.
Right.
That was his point. And then those were the two that kind of brought everyone around, and everyone kind of orbited around them. I think whoever maybe comes out of this Wakanda Forever movie could be that.
Yeah.
I think depending on how well they execute, I know you don't love the Peter Parker stuff, but how well they execute Peter not being known by anybody,
Yeah.
that could be his hook, is he had a life and he lost it, and he can only be Spider-Man now or make new relationships.
The
You know?
next Spider-Man movie could be
And I
ridiculous.
think,
It could be.
and even
Because
But
he's not-
wasn't this last one ridiculous?
Oh yeah, but
And
I'm
I-
saying in a whole different direction, it could be
Right.
ridiculous.
I just
Or
have
nobody
I have the
knows.
issue with it's always
Oh.
like we already set the agenda and we need to beat like the thing that we did last time.
Mhm.
Like that's what Ragnarok was like. I'm unbeatable, and then Thor: Love and Thunder was like, well, we can try, and it just went a little bit too much. And it's always
Right.
trying to like the best it. Like Multiverse of Madness, I really liked because it was different. I thought it was different, and
It's
it
a
did
good Sam
it did,
Raimi movie.
and it did a yeah,
I mean, it's very Sam
and it did
Raimi,
a
yeah.
lot more than I thought a movie could do.
Okay.
Right? So then how do you beat that? Well, now Spider-Man's going to be, unknown. Are they going to be able to say like, oh, Miles being like, I'm now the new Spider-Man, or I'm my own hero,
Ooh.
being influenced
See,
by
that would
like
be
Peter
nice.
Parker,
Huh.
like they hear of Spider-Man or they hear of this guy, like still web slinging around, but the guy who plays Spider-Man is different now, right?
When did Homecoming come out? 2016? 2015?
Yeah, that
It's
sounds
been
right.
like 6 years, 7 years since Homecoming came out. That's
Mm.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
In that movie, they reference Miles Morales, and we haven't seen a single sniff of him.
But the new Spider-Verse movie comes out. And when
Is that
comes
going to be connected?
and when that comes out, the extra credit scenes, right? When did that come out?
Next year, I think.
Sometime
now.
next year.
It got
When
pushed
that
back
movie
to
comes
next
out,
year.
the extra credit scene better be Miles coming into the real world.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool.
Ooh.
That's the new universe. It's the real world versus the animated universe.
I'm here
Oh,
for it.
and that's what we need the Kang story to be. You know what I mean?
The
Like
unifier.
this could be the unifier, and it needs to be done the way it should be done, which is fantastic. If they can do it the same way it started in Loki, then they can make this a pretty great experience for all of us. Or they could Disney it up,
Disney,
and we'll all be
That's what I use the phrase.
well worse off.
But they're not DC, right? They're not
Yeah.
messing up
Nobody,
to the point.
well, nothing's
No
Not
one,
sad.
no one can be DC. No one can be as
Nothing's that-
glorious
nothing's that low.
and interesting as
How low
eight of
can
the
you go?
exact same trailer for this new movie that's coming out.
Mhm.
And I still can't tell the difference. I still don't think there's any new
Well,
footage.
we're gonna check this out real quick because
Yeah.
this is the newest Black Adam
Wait,
trailer.
the fact he had to say that they're not DC, DC's garbage, and the fact that Marvel's up to the point, well, at least they're not DC, is pretty bad.
That's a good
That's
point.
like, that's
I
a
think that
handsome
is.
guy all the way
That
to the
is my
far
complaint.
right. Let's check it out. All the way to the far right, the really handsome Quan.
Ooh,
Hey,
it's his birthday next month.
Man, that was a good point, though.
Yeah.
It's true. That is true.
yeah.
We're happy that
My son sacrificed his life to save me.
if you smell.
These powers are not a gift, but a curse. Born out of rage. Locked it up.
I kind of dig the theme.
I do too.
Down
Yeah.
It's
before
powerful.
innocent people start getting hurt.
He's
What was
been
that,
away for
Top Gun?
5,000 years.
You find us a cell that can hold them, we'll
Where's
take
Stone
care of
Cold?
the rest.
Who's on the team?
You don't need passports. We're the Justice Society.
There's a war going on outside we ain't safe from.
Black Adam.
We're here to negotiate your peaceful surrender.
Heard about at least 3 killings this afternoon.
I'm not peaceful. Nor do I surrender. Here we go. I kneel before no one.
You didn't come here to seek justice. You came to exact revenge.
Too much enemy fire to catch a break.
I never
Adam
said I was a
Smash.
hero.
So sweet.
Giving you respect, I expect the same thing.
You believe you are not worthy. But fate does not make mistakes.
I'm fighting for you. There's a war going on outside we ain't safe from.
You have two paths.
Is that Trigon?
You can be the destroyer of this
Yeah.
world.
It looks a lot like.
It does.
Yeah.
Or you can be its savior.
Shout out Michael Bay.
Let's go. Explosions.
All right, hold
More
on.
explosions.
I'm about to contradict the hell out of myself.
Uh-oh.
That looked cool.
It does.
At
That
least they're
looked-
not Marvel.
At least they're not Marvel.
That
I'm excited.
that looks cool.
I'm excited
And
to see
if that's Trigon, that's crazy.
that. That's even
Just to
that's
be
even
able
cooler.
to see those characters and like is it Carter Hall? Do we know? That version
don't
of
know.
Hawkman? I don't know, but I think all the characters that we're looking like we're going to be able to see and the abilities that we're going to see look super cool. Whether it's going to be a compelling plot, that remains to be seen. But on the surface level, it looks like a lot of fun, which who knows, maybe all the coolest parts we just watch. We may have just watched all the coolest
Right.
I'll
parts.
go with
That,
that
this
too.
is the 4th trailer,
Yeah.
right? For this movie.
third or fourth.
I
don't
pray
know.
they can't screw this up,
No,
right?
no.
Can it be? You know what I mean? You're right.
Yes, they can.
As soon as you said, I know. As soon as you said that, I
I
was like,
mean,
oh yeah, I forgot. You still got to create a plausible story out of
Yeah,
what we're about to see. But as soon as we saw Trigon, if that's indeed
that's got to be
that's
Trigon, right?
pretty fantastic.
I would sure hope so.
then you got the Waller
That's
cameo
Because
and
they
I
have
mean,
Yeah.
really strong
Yeah, like
they have really strong beings here.
yes.
They have to put there has to be something really powerful. It can't just be like, oh, it's another
Right.
whatever, dude.
They need Black Adam to help
Whale.
stop Trigon.
Yeah.
It's a killer whale.
That right there, that would be
Sick.
incredible.
Incredible.
The leader
Yeah.
of the underworld coming to take over the planet, and the Justice Society needs Black Adam to help them stop him.
Right.
Timmy was in the
That
chat.
hurts me.
He wanted to know why they didn't cast Kevin Hart to play Hawkman.
That would have been hysterical.
Wow.
I don't know if it'd have the same impact in that
Kevin Hart's
scene
probably
of them
gonna play,
jumping in.
Do they give him?
That'd have been like real life.
It was hard to tell, but I'd be willing to bet that Black Adam's kid is going to be Kevin Hart.
Wow.
That would be funny.
Guys, with that,
Too good.
we want to say that we appreciate you taking the time to check us out tonight, a special late night edition or later night edition. Paul, what do you got for the people?
What do I have for the people? So you're going to want to go to Twitter. Go to @into_comics.
Tweet.
And then you're going to follow us. And you're going to interact with us. And then you're going to go to Instagram. And you're going to follow us @IntoTheWestComics. You can do the same thing there. And then you're going to go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. And you're going to download our episode.
You can do are you doing a Wanda thing? You're like just kind of telling them what they're going to.
Yes.
I like that. Okay, keep going.
And then you're going to, but before you do any of that, you're going to hit the like button on this video.
Boom.
And you're going to comment and tell us how incredible Quan looks.
You're gonna
And
share it.
and then you're going to share it.
Boom. Variant is making his way to the northwest part of the United States tomorrow morning early. He's making the road trip.
Woo, road trip.
He's going up to Mama and brothers and
All that.
and Michael up there.
Good little drive.
I'm glad that it worked out for you to be here tonight. It's pretty cool.
So am I.
It did work out. The only thing that I got for you is there's this new Netflix show that came out this week. It's pretty big, called Bee and Puppy Cat.
Okay.
It was a web series made in 2012. It's a cartoon. It's TV PG. I think it's funny. It's really pretty. It's got a great soundtrack. It's very fun.
It's Netflix.
And if you Netflix. And if you're worried that you don't have, you have 4 shows that are super dark and very violent, the show is not that.
Okay.
Enjoy something.
Relax. Uncle nephew. Sorry we kept you up so late.
It's okay. I'm probably gonna fall asleep on the way home. Okay. Thanks a lot, Frank. You sent me to my doom.
Oh, cruise control.
Doom.
Pick up the latest Black Thought and Danger Mouse album. It's called.
Cool.
They're called Cheat Codes. It's dope. It's great. It's a great record, and I like music, so that's why I'm saying that.
D23 this weekend. The
You
panel
didn't have to explain yourself.
will be
just in case nobody.
I
it's
like
fine.
music.
So,
we'll be commenting on
Come on
that.
now.
They'll be posting some stuff on all the socials over the weekend, guys. We're excited for this weekend. We're gonna have a lot of announcements, a lot of things to go over next Thursday. We're 1 week away from the amazing Las Vegas Comic Con. We will talk to you guys next week. Thanks
Can't
for hanging out
wait.
with us. We appreciate
Bye.
it.
Good night.
Good night, Eva.
Good night.
I love you all.
Love you.
Good night, Eva.
Grace. Simon.
Good night, Amy Adams.
Good night, man.
Good night, Amy Adams. Toodaloo.
My other baby.